The UN Security Council is responsible for the United Nations' most important global functions. It issues resolutions that can authorize military action, create peacekeeping missions, or impose sanctions on states that aren't playing nice in the international system. The UN Security Council is made up of 15 member states. 10 of these are elected to 2-year terms, and 5 of them are permanent. If you think about who the victorious states were in the Second World War, well, you can probably predict who those permanent 5 members are. They're the United States, Great Britain, France, Russia, that was then the Soviet Union, and China. These permanent 5 states are the ones that are at the heart of the United Nations power structure. For a UN Security Council resolution to pass, it needs support of 3/5 of all members, which means 9 of the 15 have to vote for a resolution, with one not so little added wrinkle. Now, what makes these permanent 5 members extra important is that they have the power of veto. This means that if any of them say no to a Security Council resolution, it fails on the spot. So what happens if one of these veto powers feels like maybe a peacekeeping mission is going to go against its national interests? Well, that peacekeeping mission straight up does not happen. For example, why haven't we seen a meaningful Security Council resolution regarding intervention in Syria? Like after the Syrian government used poison gas during the Syrian civil war. Well, we could, for example, look at the relationship that Russian President Vladimir Putin has with Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad. Their relationship would make it unlikely for the Russian government to pass any of these Security Council resolutions that would go against its alliance with Syria. Now, there have been some Security Council resolutions regarding the situation in Syria, but most of these have come from the humanitarian aid side of things. Now, the veto powers can abstain from voting if they don't necessarily want to vote yes, but also don't want to stop a resolution dead in its tracks. So an abstention by one of the veto powers could be seen as sort of a silent protest while still allowing the resolution to move forward. But again, if any of those 5 permanent members vote no, that resolution is dead in its tracks. Often, this veto power in the Security Council is seen as one of the central criticisms of the UN system as a whole. It makes it even more difficult for the UN to do its important work when global crises demand it. And let's be real, the UN already has pretty limited powers when it comes to things like military intervention or any sort of intervention into a conflict. And as you might imagine, in order for a resolution to pass through the Security Council getting no vetoes, the wording has to be exactly right so that none of those 5 permanent members feel like it'll go against their national interests. So often what results are resolutions that are very heavy on compromise and can be kind of considered to be watered down. Often, these challenges are at, again, the very heart of calls to reform the United Nations system and try to make it into a more effective organization. That said, any process to change how the Security Council operates would need, well, you guessed it, a vote in the Security Council and no vetoes. And which of the permanent 5 veto powers is going to vote to give up some of that crucial veto power that they have? My bet is it's going to be a very difficult thing to convince them. And I don't see them giving up that power anytime soon. While the 10 elected members don't have that same power that the permanent 5 members do, often countries will still strive to get onto the Security Council because it gives them a seat at the table in guiding the kinds of cases that are talked about and debated in the Security Council. If a state has a seat, then those issues that are their national interests might be more likely to be discussed. Now, despite all these criticisms, creating a system like this from scratch in a way that all countries could agree on, well, that's no easy task. So maybe it is the best we've got, and it's still better than nothing. What are your thoughts on the Security Council? Let us know in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't already, ring that notification bell, and we'll see you again next time.